Hey, this is John Cena, and you are watching this WWE Fan 13.
Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking all the WrestleManias I ever went to from my favorite to my least favorite. But before we get into today's video, make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up. Comment down today's question of the day. Have you guys been to a WrestleMania? If not, do you guys want to go to a WrestleMania, or do you guys have a plan in the future to go to one? And also, if you have not already, go follow me on TikTok. I'm uploading, different WWE TikToks on there at Miss WWE Fan 13. And as well, go follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all the social media, also at Miss WWE Fan 13. So with that being said, guys, let's get started. So the way that this is going to be working, I'm going to start from my worst WrestleMania that I consider, and then to my best. And also I want to make a comment real quick. I have loved every single one of my WrestleMania trips I have gone to, but of course, like any trip or any event you go to, there's always one that is better than the other, and I basically want to give my reasons for why I ranked them, in the order I did. And the WrestleManias I have attended and the WrestleManias I choose, in your eyes, they might be a little different to you. Maybe if you attended or if you saw the show, but I am ranking this by the location, by who I was with, the whole experience as a whole, the shows, everything that comes with the WrestleMania trip. So with each of my rankings, I will give you guys why I ranked it the way I did. So shout out to my mom for letting me borrow her phone because I made a whole bunch of notes so I can let you guys know. So in total, I have been to 7 WrestleManias. The very first WrestleMania I attended was WrestleMania 26, and the last WrestleMania I attended was WrestleMania 34. So of course, these WrestleManias are going to be in between there. So let's get started. So coming in at number 7, we have my most recent WrestleMania, WrestleMania 34. WrestleMania 34 as a show was really good, but I'm going to just get into kind of my experience, and then I'm going to talk a little more into why I ranked it the way I did. So, the location, New Orleans, super cool location. I have already been there prior to this WrestleMania, so, it wasn't a new place to visit for me. One of the things I love about WrestleManias is going to visit new locations. I love traveling. So the fact that it was in another location I've already been to, that kind of docked it. For me personally, I know maybe some people love New Orleans, and it is a good city for WrestleMania. It's great. But just for myself, I wanted to visit a new place. I was able to go to their aquarium though, which that was really cool. And I was able to go to my very first Pelicans NBA basketball game. If you guys don't know, I love the NBA. My favorite team is the Spurs, but I was able to go watch the Pelicans play. So that was a really cool part of it. WrestleCon, I was able to meet Stone Cold Steve Austin. And with that, you guys would be like, how's that not your number top 3? Well, guys, there's more to come on why I'm ranking it so low. But meeting Stone Cold was super cool, and if I get to meet him again, I 100% would in a heartbeat. But the thing is, with meeting Stone Cold at that certain place at WrestleCon, the management of the meet and greet was just horrible. It was one of the worst meet and greets I had ever been to as far as how they set it up, how they ran it. So that's why this part of this WrestleMania got docked so low. Stone Cold was great himself. Him as a person, he was great. He made up for what happened. He felt bad because it wasn't his fault what happened. It was more about the company running it. So Stone Cold literally did anything he could to make everybody happy. So, Stone Cold's a great guy. 100% if you ever get to meet him, go for it. Some good things were at Access. I got to meet The Miz at Cricket Wireless, which he was super cool. Access, I got to meet Samoa Joe, which was a big bucket list for me. Sonya Deville, The Revival, Paige, McIntyre, Becky Lynch, The Good Brothers, The New Day, Undisputed Era, The Bellas. I got to meet Roman. And yeah, so Access was really good. You could never go wrong with Access. Access is always a lot of fun, and I will always recommend to go to Access. It's one of the most fun things you can do during WrestleMania weekend. Now, coming to the matches, out of all the WrestleManias I went to, this was the least memorable matches for myself. Maybe a lot of you guys did enjoy WrestleMania 34, but compared to the other WrestleManias I went to, these were the least memorable matches that I had to even look it up to be hey, what matches were there? And I'm not going to read you guys all the matches. I'm just picking my most memorable ones from each WrestleMania. So we have Naomi winning the Battle Royale. Obviously, I was hyped about that. Big Naomi fan. We have Taker and Cena, which of course you guys know that was always one of my dream matches, but I wish they would have been like an actual match, but I understand Taker couldn't do a full match, but still I wish it was planned out a little better, but it was still amazing to be there for Undertaker and Cena. And then also AJ Styles versus Shinsuke. That was also a great match to see in person. Now, the reason why this WrestleMania is literally ranked bottom of my list is because this WrestleMania, I almost ended up going to the hospital because I was in so much pain. There's a whole story to it. I don't really want to get into it, but I just, pain-wise and living with a disability, not everyone is understanding and tries to be there for you. So I just almost ended up in the emergency room because of all the bad pain that I had to deal with for that whole weekend. I'm just going to leave it like that, I guess. That's the best way I can describe it and just talk about it because it was just really bad, guys. And I never made it known to you guys on my video during the vlog because, of course, you guys don't want to see me vlogging, talking about going to the emergency room, you know. The night of WrestleMania, I actually almost called the ambulance. Nobody knew, not even anyone who I was hanging out with. But it was pretty bad. So that is why WrestleMania 34 is at number 7 on my list. All right, guys, coming in at number 6. Literally the shirt I'm wearing and the hat I'm wearing, WrestleMania 31. So there was a lot of good things about this WrestleMania. But like I said, just it's so hard to rank these because from this list up, they're also good. It was just hard that I literally just had to narrow it down to little things. So WrestleMania 31, a really big highlight. It was my very first WrestleMania with my brother. You guys know my brother. He's been on my videos. When he used to live in San Antonio, he used to take me to a whole bunch of wrestling shows. And you guys are very aware of my brother. But this was the first WrestleMania he actually attended with me. And it was really cool. It was the very first time in San Jose, San Francisco area. So, of course, you guys just know I just said I love traveling. I love visiting new locations. So being able to go see the Golden Gate Bridge and all that good stuff, that was a lot of fun. Now when it comes to WrestleCon, I was able to meet the Hardys, Mysterio. Those are like the two. I met more than that, but those are like my top 2 that I can talk about. With Access, the most memorable, I met the Usos, the Bellas, and the Boogeyman. Like I said, I met more people, but those are like the top ones, like the most notable. And then it's come to the matches. The most notable ones for me was Orton versus Rollins. Super good match. Triple H versus Sting. The match was good, but I guess it was just the nostalgia for me, like seeing like the like DX and NWO and all those people come out. It was just such a cool match to see. And then we got Cena versus Rusev. Of course, I'm a John Cena diehard, anytime I see Cena. And also Rusev's entrance was super cool. And then we got Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt. Really good match as well. And we got Roman versus Lesnar. But I was able to see Seth Rollins cash in and take the championship. And that is why it was a super cool moment, being able to see a cash in seeing a cash in person. That was just super cool to see. So with that being said, WrestleMania 31 does come in at number 6. It was a good WrestleMania nonetheless, but compared to my others, it had to be at number 6. Coming in at number 5, we have WrestleMania 32, which was in Dallas, Texas. Number 1, location, not too far from home. That's always great, especially during the time I was on chemotherapy, so it was hard for me to travel very far. I did it anyway for most WrestleManias, but it was nice to take a break in between and have one not too far from home. And also, I'm a very big history nerd. Like, I love anything about history, seeing like museums and all that stuff. So we were able to go see a lot of like the JFK stuff, and it was, really good experience. Now, when it comes to, and also I was able to attend this WrestleMania with my brother. I think it was our second WrestleMania together. So, of course, any WWE event with my brother was a lot of fun. And we also had like matching Shane McMahon jerseys for the show. So that was really cool. And that's one of my favorite photos I have of my brother and I. So then that is also the first trip where I met Vince and one of my other good friends, Eric. If you guys know Vince, he is now in NXT. But if you guys want to go follow him, Joey Gonzalez, he's working so hard in his career and, he's doing so awesome. But this time in our life, this was the first time that we met and we were really good friends and, we were always talking online and doing videos together, all that stuff. And this was the first time we, hung out at WrestleMania together. It was a lot of fun. For Access, we met Paige. It was the very first time I met Becky. I met Neville, aka Pac, and then Kalisto. We were able to meet Paul Heyman. Those are like the most notable ones. If you guys want to see more of my WrestleMania photos, you guys can go to Instagram. It'll have like everyone I met since WrestleMania 30, I believe. And then WrestleCon, I met Shawn Michaels, the Hardys, Kurt Angle, and then, yeah, those are like the most notable. But like I said, I did meet more. Now, we also attended, I also attended the Hall of Fame, NXT, and all that stuff. But as far as when it comes to most memorable matches for WrestleMania, my most memorable, the Usos versus the Dudleys. It was AJ's first WrestleMania, I believe. We got Charlotte versus Becky versus Banks, and then of course we got Taker versus McMahon, which that match was just so epic in my opinion. Seeing Shane fly off the Hell in a Cell, I never thought like he would do something like that. But it shouldn't be surprised now, to be honest. But like at the time, I was just like, oh shoot. And overall, it was just a lot of fun. And that's why, and I guess it's more of a sentimental as well, because a WrestleMania with my brother is always a good WrestleMania. Coming in at number 4, we got WrestleMania 30. Now, I feel like a lot of you guys are going to be surprised that this is at number 4, not higher on my list, but it'll make sense why later on when I talk about the other WrestleManias. But nonetheless, this was a good WrestleMania. It was my first WrestleMania where I actually knew what I was doing. WrestleMania 26 and 28, I had no idea what I was doing when it comes to Access, Hall of Fame, how Access worked, to WrestleCon. I didn't even know WrestleCon was a thing prior to WrestleMania 30. So, this is the first WrestleMania where I was able to go do everything and do it like sufficiently and just make the entire most of the trip. So this is also my first time in New Orleans. Like I said, I went to WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans, but WrestleMania 30 was the first time I was in New Orleans in my life. So of course that's high up there because it was my first experience seeing somewhere new, and it was just really cool because you see New Orleans on TV, you see it through, Disney's. You guys know I'm a big Disney fan, so you see it through Disney's Princess and the Frog. You see it through all the, it's just everything about New Orleans. Everyone knows about New Orleans. So to finally be there in person, it was a really cool experience to see all the structures and the architecture, and it was just a lot of fun. And of course, we went on a lot of tours. We tried beignets, which is a big like New Orleans dessert, and yeah. And then this was also the very first time I was recognized as Miss WFan 13 for my channel. It was really cool. I met 2 subscribers at WrestleCon while I was getting ready to meet. I don't remember who. I think I was getting ready to meet Jake the Snake, or I can't remember exactly who. But they came up to me and they recognized me. We took a photo, and it was just a really good experience because, like, I had barely started making videos at that point. It was also my very first WrestleCon that I ever went to. And then with Access, I met Cody Rhodes, I met Paige, Rollins. At Access, I got to meet Brett and Jim Neidhart. And yeah, so that was a really good experience meeting them. And then as far as the most memorable matches from WrestleMania 30, I would have to say it was the Shield 6 tag match. If you guys know, I was a big Shield fan, and I love all 3 members of the Shield. So seeing them in that tag match, and I think it was the very first time I was able to see them live. So of course that was an amazing experience. And I had just met Rollins at Access, who was super nice. And then we got to see Cena versus Wyatt. You guys know I'm a big Cena mark. I see Cena anytime. And also the whole setup to Cena and Wyatt match was amazing. So getting to see the outcome of it in person was amazing. We got Taker's streak being broken. And that's why I'm going to say a lot of you guys are going to be shocked that it's not like my number 1 or my number 2. But I will say this. I have never seen so many grown men cry. And honestly, I was crying too. So I'm not going to, act like I wasn't. But it was one of the biggest shocks of my entire life. I never thought I would. Number 1, I never thought the Undertaker streak would break. And number 2, if it did, I never thought I would be there in person to see it. And then the last match, you guys know which I'm probably about to say, the whole Daniel Bryan storyline, seeing him beat Triple H and then going on to beat Batista and Orton, seeing all that take place, it was just amazing. And seeing his big moment, it was just, it was such an amazing moment, and we definitely needed it after seeing the Undertaker streak be broken, because I have never seen so many people walk out. And I bet all those people who walked out probably regret walking out because they missed Daniel Bryan, having his big moment. All right, guys, coming in at number 3, we have my very first WrestleMania, WrestleMania 26. So obviously this has to be in my top 5 because it is my very first WrestleMania I ever attended. Number 2, I got to, go with my parents to WrestleMania, which was cool. My dad actually took me to WrestleMania. My mom took me to like the Accesses. She took me to the Hall of Fame. So, they kind of split up the, taking me to the events. Because at the time my mom wasn't really a wrestling fan. But so, they kind of split it up, but it was cool just being able to experience that with my family. It was also in a good location, Phoenix. It's not that far from us in Texas. It's about 6 hours from us. So you know, overall, it's a good location. The only thing I wish it was like in maybe more stuff to do at the time in Phoenix, but other than that, you know, I was so focused on wrestling, I didn't really care about what was happening on the outside of the world. So also it was my very first access, you know, my very first Hall of Fame. And if you guys want to see who I met, I just did a recent video, a WWE story time, my first WrestleMania. If you guys want to go check it out, you guys can check it out after this video. I've literally put all the photos of anyone I've ever met, and I'm going to be doing more story times of these other WrestleManias I'm talking to, so you guys can see all the photos there. Because I don't want to spoil photos and stuff. I want to keep them, you know, for those videos I'm going to be making of story times. So, you know, we had that, and then the matches, we had Orton versus Rhodes and DiBiase. You guys know I'm a big Cody Rhodes fan ever since he was in ECW. You know, right, like kind of like the ends of his ECW days going into WWE and then joining Legacy, kind of all that period. So it was cool to be able to see him, and, you know, DiBiase as well, and of course Orton. So that was cool to see. I was able to see a Money in the Bank match in person. If you guys know, my dream is always to see Money in the Bank matches. That was the first one I saw. And I think probably the only one I've seen, I believe, because they stopped doing WrestleMania Money in the Bank matches. And then we had Rey Mysterio versus CM Punk. You guys know I'm a huge Rey Mysterio fan. Then we had, you know, Bret Hart returning, and then the whole Hart family there against Vince McMahon. That was really cool. And then we have Jericho versus Edge for the title. That was awesome to see. And then of course we have Cena versus Batista, big Cena fan and a big Batista fan. So to see them go against each other was just awesome. And then lastly we have Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker for the streak. And you know, just seeing The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels wrestle live, that was just something I never thought I would see. These next two are more sentimental trips and also location trips. That's why they're ranked so high. Because like I said, I'm a big traveler. I love seeing new places. So coming in at number 2, we have WrestleMania 28 in Miami. It was a family trip. We took my nephew Tyler for his first WrestleMania trip. It was his Christmas present. We went to Miami. It was a big family vacation. We were staying on the beachside hotel that came with the package. We got to go to the beach. We went jet skiing, beach area, like all the restaurants that they have there. And Miami is just such a cool place to go to, especially at night. Just like the area, it's just such a cool vibe to be at, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like the whole area is just so cool. Like it's lit up at night, the beach. It's just so nice. So then what else do we got here? So, you know, we got to meet Rey Mysterio at Access. We got those tickets super cheap, like last minute. It was really cool how we got those. And then we got to see my nephew's favorite wrestler, Edge, go into the Hall of Fame. That was complete coincidence. We got the tickets before we even knew Edge was going into the Hall of Fame. So that was a cool coincidence. And then the matches that stood out, of course, was Undertaker versus Triple H. That match was one of my favorite matches I've seen in person of all time. With, you know, they had Shawn Michaels as a special guest referee. We have CM Punk versus Jericho. And we had The Rock versus Cena. The Rock versus Cena is the whole reason why we even went to WrestleMania. So that number 2 is a very big sentimental one because I got to share something I loved with my nephew. And coming in at number 1, we have WrestleMania 33. This was the trip where Vince and we hung out the entire trip. We literally planned this trip all together. And it was just a lot of fun, this trip. From what we did before WrestleMania, during Access, WrestleCon, it was just one of the best trips I've been on for WrestleMania. So, of course, like I said, we got to hang out with one of my very good friends. We went to Disney World, did all the parks in one day. To this day, me and Vince talk about it, and we do not understand how we did that. We did Universal. We went to the NASA, I think it's the Johnson Space Center. We went to Hogan's Beach Shop where we got to meet Hulk Hogan. We hung out at the beach, walked around. And then we also went to WrestleCon, and I met a lot of people. For the first time, I met Vicky Guerrero, where I did do an interview with her. If you guys want to go check that out, I think I've interviewed her 2 times, I think, or 3 times. If you guys want to go check it out, it's on my channel. I met Chavo, I met Sting, EC3, Lashley. I met more people than that, but these are, like I said, most notable. Access, we met Becky, Usos, Sheamus, Cesaro, Orton, Big Cass, Enzo. You know, we just had so much fun at Access. We met more than that as well, but like I said, these are the most notable. And it was just so much fun. I remember, like, we literally got so tired from Disney World. We ordered a pizza. We both fell asleep. And then we woke up the next morning and we're like, we never got our pizza. And like, the thing is, I don't even know what happened. I think they probably, you know, delivered it. I still got charged for it, which is fine. It was my fault for falling asleep and not getting it. But I remember we woke up and we're like, oh crap, we never ate dinner. We literally was so tired from Disney World, we crashed out. And then as far as the matches, my most notable, we had, Matt and Jeff Hardy returning to WWE with the New Day, like kind of setting it all up because they were hosting WrestleMania that year. We had Shane versus AJ Styles. We had Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho. We had The Miz and Maurice versus Cena and Nikki Bella. And then we had Rollins versus Triple H. So for me, those were the most notable matches. And honestly, it was just the mixture of the location, going to WrestleMania with one of my really good friends. And it was just an amazing trip and one of my most favorite trips. It was and we went to SmackDown, we went to Raw. I think we were front row at SmackDown, or at least second row. I can't remember, first or second row. We went to Raw, we went to Hall of Fame, we went to NXT. We did everything. And it was just one of my favorite WrestleManias. And I don't know, I'm sure it'll be topped in the future, but it will always be definitely in my top 3. In my favorite trips of all time for wrestling and for WrestleMania. So with that being said, guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want to see more of these kind of videos, give the video a thumbs up. Comment down below what was your favorite WrestleMania of mine that I attended. Have you guys attended any WrestleManias, or were you guys at any of the WrestleManias I attended? And with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. And so before I let this go, actually, I will be live streaming for WrestleMania 39. So the links down below, click them. It'll be sending you guys to the live stream. If you guys want to click notify me at each of the live streams I have set, you guys will be notified when I go live. I think I will go live about like an hour or so before WrestleMania starts, and we're going to have a whole WrestleMania party. So with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's video.
Are you a supporter of the Marine Corps?
Absolutely.
Great, because a former decorated member of the United States Marine Corps needs your support.
And his name